All right, we're doing episode 4. Right here. Share sound. There you go. All right, we got our video here. We only have one video for this one, so we're just gonna comment our thoughts on this crazy issue. All right, holding a
Yeah,
Black Lives Matter sign.
Yeah, Black
America's
Lives
most
Matter.
racist sound. It's pretty interesting.
This
that is
can be
crazy.
interesting. This one's gonna be interesting.
Yep.
Harrison, Arkansas is the most racist town in
You
the
guys can
United
hear it?
States.
Yep.
All right.
Have a little pride for the race, brother. White pride, worldwide. I wouldn't say after dark, man.
Honestly, dude, you have balls of steel because you could get hospitalized by some guys that want to beat your ass.
I've had several old men come by here, look out the window and tell me, said, you better go tell that nigger to get out of here and shit.
Yeah. So, out of your first impressions of Harrison, Arkansas, do you guys have any first impressions of this place? Any comment? No, are you serious? Yo, my thing is disconnected.
I
Oh
know. I could tell because I thought it was my screen, but
nah,
Okay.
it's just the computer gave up after that.
yeah, he heard the N word.
All right, all right. Let's resume it. Let's resume it.
Oh,
My bad,
oh,
guys. My
oh,
Wi-Fi is not the best.
oh.
Okay,
No.
we're gonna have to restart it. Okay, episode 4 on racism encountered one of the craziest clips. We're gonna read
That
it.
is kind of crazy.
All right, let's do it.
Very.
Also, a little language warning. There is the hard R thrown by somebody here, so I am gonna try my best. Actually, I really can't. All right.
Harrison,
You
Arkansas
guys hear it?
is the most racist town in the United States.
Have a little pride for the race, brother. White pride, worldwide. I wouldn't say after dark, man.
Honestly, dude, you have balls of steel because you could get hospitalized by some guys that want to beat your ass.
I've had several old men come by here, look out the window and tell me, said, you better go
Yeah,
tell that
that's the
nigger to
crazy
get out
part.
of here and
Look at
shit.
this. So, based on your first impressions, do you guys have any thoughts on Harrison, Arkansas, the most racist town allegedly?
It's racist. Well,
It's racist.
I would say I want to know about the history first,
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah, this is kind of given out of
probably
context.
the
You know?
education system,
Mm-hmm.
taught some different way.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Do you
I want to be
guys?
open-minded, even though I'm very,
Yeah.
very against this sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys have any like feelings inside of you that may have been created just from hearing that clip alone?
Well, my initial thought is that these guys are definitely like either older people, like the
Mm-hmm.
old traditional ways,
Yeah,
old
definitely.
traditional ways of
Mm-hmm.
life. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure yet because I haven't seen like a young person yet in the video.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely
Yeah.
conservative, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Okay. All right, let's go through with it then.
All right.
About 10 minutes, I'm gonna be back. You better be fucking gone.
Oh,
Okay,
good
come
morning,
back.
that's it.
What about the white line? We matter too. You're a white man. Crazy.
You're a dumbass motherfucker. You dumb shit.
You racist motherfucker.
Are you a Marxist?
Communist.
So one thing I noticed was an individual was running around and said, "All lives matter." And I actually kind of think, in my own viewpoint, I don't think there's really anything wrong about saying all lives matter because you are including that everybody is a human, the same human, all races matter the same. But why do you think there's this reaction towards all lives matter? And why are people reacting this way against Black Lives Matter? Do you guys have any ideas?
Honestly, I think it's definitely got something to do with how they were taught when they grew up. Maybe they're
Mm-hmm.
still in the Cold War age because I see a lot of like you're a Marxist, you're
Mm-hmm.
a communist, right?
Oh yeah,
So
definitely.
maybe they see like progressive ideas as like communistic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know. This all seems weird because like I don't know how you could call someone a communist or a Marxist. Either they don't know what those words mean
Mm-hmm.
or they're like they relate like yeah, maybe they just don't know exactly what those words mean, but they relate it
Mm-hmm.
to they use it to describe their feelings on progressivism or something like that, you know?
I think that's a pretty interesting point that you said that it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like the reaction against progressive ideas such as Black Lives Matter. Do you know why would they have this type of reaction towards a sign? Do you have any comments on that?
I would like this one. My opinion is that people have a bad reaction towards like the Black Lives Matter signs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because and honestly, I was gonna say like I don't know. I was gonna comment on why people might hate the word "all lives matter," and why
Mm-hmm.
it can be held as a racist thought. Because
Yeah.
all lives matter. Essentially, I've only heard of all lives matter like after Black Lives Matter, right? So
Mm-hmm.
by someone just saying like all lives matter instead of Black Lives Matter, I feel like it's like they're like neglecting, Black lives essentially. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I see. Yeah.
I think that's why
That's
it's like
a
a negative
interesting
reaction
point.
to Black Lives
That's a
Matter
that's an
signs.
interesting point. I've never thought of it that way. All right,
Yeah.
let's continue. Interesting discussion we had there.
Domestic terrorists.
Why don't you take to Chicago or New York or cold enough where they're shooting each other?
Explain to me why coons lie facts.
No, they don't. Do a real fucking job. I'm Jesus. Get your ass out of town. That shit don't make shit here. Hey, all lives matter.
So I kind of found it interesting that a lot of people have this reaction towards a sign, and this is just from holding up a sign. He's not really saying anything. So how do you guys think systemic racism manifests in different aspects of society? Does education have a role? Employment, criminal justice? Like what aspects of society manifest this racism? And do you think it can be applied to Harrison, Arkansas?
No, I actually remember this one time in TOK where we talked about
Mm-hmm.
how education comes into play when it comes to conservative ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the Confederate States, they still have those people that believe in the Confederacy, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then
Yeah.
conservative ideas. And that's I don't know, we saw this one video in TOK where it was just like these conservative Confederate pro-Confederate people that were just either protesting. My memory's a little foggy, but
Mm-hmm.
I remember it being about the education and how they were educated to believe in that matter. So I guess I would say the education definitely matters a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the US doesn't really control every state's education and how it's styled. I think the
Mm-hmm.
states have a lot of freedom around that. So definitely some built in racist ideals. But then again, in here, right, in here, yes, they're
Mm-hmm.
being racist, but some
Yeah.
of these people are also saying all lives matter. So it could
Mm-hmm.
just be a mix between racism and conservatism and just people who are generally offended at lives matter. Like they
Mm-hmm.
think all lives matter too. But
Yeah.
when they
I
say that, they also say white lives matter, and it's only white people
mm-hmm.
thing. And so
Yeah.
I would say there's not a really a way to know that. I would say for sure.
You can also like tie it to like the historical aspect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
I just realized, Arkansas is like a southern state of the U.S., right?
Yeah.
So it also has like a long history of slavery, segregation, and racial
Mm-hmm.
violence.
Ooh,
Yeah.
very
So
rich
it's
people.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So it's not. I don't. It's like more like ignorance and fear rather than
Mm-hmm.
not probably not fear, but like I feel like it's more less on education and more just
Mm-hmm.
ignorance.
So it's more of like a generational thing because we know the North was
Yeah,
pretty
exactly.
progressive. Yeah. That's an interesting point. All right.
Matter, not just black. You're a Caucasian.
You're white.
You look like a white guy holding a black lives matter sign. What's the deal with that? I'd be ashamed to be a white boy carrying that stupid sign.
You're white, aren't you? Oh boy. Hey buddy, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Hey, you saying something too?
Yes, sir.
I am good.
Because I'm hardly seeing this right here is the biggest hoax there ever was.
It's just
That's a
Hoax
pretty
sitting next to
interesting
ISIS.
statement. He said this right here is the biggest hoax. What do you guys think about that statement right there? That's pretty controversial.
I think what he's trying to say is I don't know if he's trying to say the direct word,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if he is trying to say this is a hoax, I don't think he believes that this is right in the state. I think he
Mm-hmm.
means this isn't supposed to happen
Mm-hmm.
ish.
Well, like, what do
That
you mean
sounds
by
wrong in my own way. When he says
that?
hoax, when he says hoax, he means that it's like a fraud. It's like
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
this whole thing is like some sort of like some sort of tool. You know how hoaxes are, right?
Yeah.
News hoax, like something that's not true, but
Yeah.
it's like used in a way to like diverge
Manipulate.
public opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like he means that it's a way to diverge public opinion
Hmm.
towards believing that black people have rights. And honestly, calling it a hoax, that just might be his own opinion. Maybe he's being very close-minded here, not really
Hmm.
being, yeah.
And also, this ties to like this idea of, what I said before. This could probably tie into this idea of fear, like
Hmm.
ignorance and fear, because
Yeah.
like you can literally see in the the caption it says it's the next thing to ISIS, right?
Yeah.
So maybe they can associate Black lives to like terrible events caused by minorities, such as like
Hmm.
the 9/11 attacks.
Oh,
Oh, that's a good
that's
analysis.
actually a crazy thing you noted out. So
Yeah.
what do you think the implication of that is? Of like this fear against minorities. How does this create fear within, these communities that have been impacted indirectly or maybe directly? Do you think there's any causes to this racism that may have led them to have this viewpoint?
Maybe it's because like I don't know, maybe in like the old traditional era of the US, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was like, I suppose, less incidents occurring.
Mm-hmm.
But now because the US is becoming more diverse, like
Yeah.
I guess white people are getting more worried about, minorities taking over the US or whatever, something like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Is the correct way to
Yeah.
say the white man's burden? Like, is that what they're trying to say?
That's
The white man's burden. What's the? I gotta search it. But I know it's like something like the white people have to like.
I think I know what you're referring to. It is called the white man's burden, but that's a different context that it is
Yeah,
applied to.
Yeah.
Different context. I don't think it would be applied here, but that fear against minorities, I can see that brewing within these communities because ISIS was a very terrible event that, or they were actually related to 9/11. I believe it was Al Qaeda, or maybe it could have been them. No, nobody knows. But I could see that because New York was a very tragic event back in 2001. That was a pretty touchy topic.
Yep.
So yeah, that's a interesting point that you bring up. I actually kind of like it. All right.
So it's more like a prejudice.
Yeah, prejudice created from bad elements that happened from events. That's an interesting point.
It is.
Yeah, black lives do matter, but what about ours, man?
That's pretty interesting. Do you guys have any thoughts on that? Black lives do matter, but what about ours? Do you guys have any comments on that?
it's the same thing as the guy saying, "Hey, Black Lives Matter." And then what about white people too?
Mm-hmm.
It's like they. I feel like they feel like underappreciated
Mm-hmm.
in a way. Like when someone says Black Lives Matter, I feel like they've seen it a lot of times, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think
Yeah.
they're racist. I think they're just like, now that I look at it, they don't seem as racist as they,
Mm-hmm.
sound out. I feel like
Yeah.
we ourselves are becoming a little too on the side of minorities,
Mm-hmm.
right? When we look at this, right? When we look
Yeah.
at this case, I feel like they just feel underappreciated. Like they're not talking about this history, they're talking about
Mm-hmm.
other history and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like they see it too often, and when they see it all at once, especially on social media, right?
Mm-hmm.
When people are like during Pride Month, it's just Black Lives Matter everywhere,
Yeah.
right? No, wait, no, not Pride Month, my bad. That's a whole different one. During Black Appreciation Month, my bad. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Black
I
History
feel like
Month.
they
Yeah.
feel like they're very underappreciated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we did dedicate a whole month to it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like taken away, like I guess they're out of the whatever, out of the spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that underappreciation might be like tick some people off,
Mm-hmm.
especially
I can see
conservative
that. Yeah,
people.
I
Yeah.
can see that.
Yeah,
So,
it
is
could.
there
Oh,
anything about like privilege? Does privilege play a role in anything at all with the Caucasians? Because Caucasians do have, at least in the US, they do have a lot of privilege. So, does this reveal anything about that? Or
Uh,
is this underappreciativeness is like actually a logical statement that anybody can make?
I think I think they do have a lot of privilege, but
Mm-hmm.
right, I think it's hard to argue that because there's
Mm-hmm.
different cases for each. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, there is a lot of systemic racism,
Mm-hmm.
especially considering that a lot of jobs a lot of job opportunities prefer the Caucasian type even to
Mm-hmm.
this day. But I feel like some also appreciate more genetic diversity than actual skill, right?
Mm-hmm.
That can also like tick some people off. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
it's just personal experiences. This guy might have had a bad time being
Mm-hmm.
like a white person in this new world where
Mm-hmm.
everybody's supposed to be different
Mm-hmm.
based on their race. And it's like
That's yeah, that's an
something like
interesting
that.
point.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, wait, hold up. What do you guys think about what if like these people are misinterpreting the BLM movement?
Oh
Misinterpreting
yes.
the BLM movement. So wait, what do you mean by that? In what way could they misinterpret it?
Like what if they see it like as a way so that they can focus away from, like white lives and like focusing on, you know, I guess why Black Lives matter more than white lives, I guess, rather than
I
looking
think,
at it as a systematic racism.
oh, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, I can see that because I do remember that one individual did say Black Lives Matter. So I don't think he was being racist in this case, but he did say, what about ours?
Yeah,
So I can see
exactly.
that because the attention is going away from a race and it's going into a particular race. And it is it is a viable reason because, they've been oppressed. But if you think about it, everybody's been in a period of slavery too. So I can, and with that reason in mind, I can see how, because white people have gone through the same issue. Actually, every race has gone through the same issue. It's not just limited to a race. I can see how they have like this little like resentment against the movement
Yeah, that's a good point.
because chaos is like a universal experience. It happens to everybody on the world. So I think I can understand that reason for their resentment, but I don't know. That's an interesting point. I didn't think about that perspective. All right, I'm gonna continue video.
Apparently, black people's lives matter more than us.
Apparently.
You know, the Irish have
Oh,
Yeah. I think we can categorize two different people. There are just outright racist people, and then there are people who don't have racist intentions, but are not particularly, with Black Lives. That was just crazy. Getting drive by and then that happens. That is
yeah,
pretty crazy. I am glad that the individual that posted this did not get like hurt at all.
yeah,
I do remember he was threatened at the start of the video, but it's a good thing that these people are at least hurting them. That would be like different like matter. But
yeah. You can really tell that these people are kind of, closed-minded. They're just,
yeah, very close-minded. Yeah.
yeah.
So how do you? Oh, and then bring it onto that point. How do you think having a closed-minded, brain, how could that affect how people like perceive like the world? Because these people are super racist. So do you have any thoughts on
Honestly,
that?
honestly, I think it makes it more convenient for them. Like
Mm-hmm.
how it it really like yeah, in ESS, Cardin talked about it. I know a lot of
Yeah.
people don't take ESS here, right? It's kind
Mm-hmm.
of like a joke class, whatever, right? I'm trying to say about something about uh how he views like other people that are like close-minded to the aspect of
Mm-hmm.
climate change. A lot
Yeah.
of people don't believe in it, and not believing in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you do have. Yes, it is like kind of like I don't know. It's like being wrong about 2 plus 2. Either way,
Uh-huh.
like ignorance is bliss, right? Either way,
Mm-hmm.
ignorance is bliss. It's not gonna do you a lot of harm.
Mm-hmm.
It might actually do you a little bit of good because you
Mm-hmm.
don't have to worry about that type of stuff.
Oh yeah.
So with
Mm-hmm.
with this type of conservatism, I think it
Mm-hmm.
just makes it easier for them to like not worry about the changing world. Like
Mm-hmm.
honestly, they could just like forget about it for a bit or maybe like for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So
So is this so with their statement, is this like their way of living in the ideal world? Is this how they like find happiness?
I think this is how they find peace in the
Mm-hmm.
changing world.
Yeah.
They find a
Mm,
way to
okay.
stabilize it, even though it's like
But yeah, I
changing
can.
a lot.
It's pretty interesting. I mean, it doesn't really justify the racism, but I do see how people are so comfortable with the racism because they were grew up on old ideals, and living with those ideals, they have people around them because Harrison, Yeah, just by looking at it, you can tell a lot of people have this type of thought. I can see how this community is very strong and tightly knit by racism. Pretty interesting.
Yep.
Hey, Mike.
That's it.
What?
Okay, that's crazy.
Walmart, they put out this statement.
I would ask you to leave. Exactly what exactly what they would ask me to do.
Whoa, that's
Hold on,
interesting.
let me replay this again. Okay. In
Yeah.
advancing our work on Black Lives Matter is so this is what Walmart is saying. Oh, of course Walmart's gonna say this, but what is this?
What they would ask me to do.
What Walmart
I
would
would
ask
ask you to.
the dude straight up lied. That that is crazy. Do you guys have any comments on that?
I think it's his personal beliefs getting in the matter of work. He's being
Yeah,
more
yeah,
personal
definitely.
here than professional. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's Walmart. They don't get paid that much. It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
likely that this stuff would happen.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, it looks very sad, right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
company can't even like do its job, do its what it wants to do
Mm-hmm.
as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of the reality. You can't really prevent it.
Yeah. But we also, what if this happened because since it's a racist state, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if they got complaints from this and they were just asking the person to like leave as a disturbance, because he was like causing
Mm-hmm.
disturbance, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So there could
Oh
also be
yeah.
that perspective.
I can see that. I do know that one issue with the like corporates like this is they don't really like YouTubers that go and like record things for like the reaction. So
That
I
is true.
think it could be that could be one of the reasons why he may be being asked to leave. But
Yeah.
wait,
Yeah,
actually let me see what he said again. What did he say? Let me see if I
I would ask you to leave. Exactly what I'm saying is exactly what they would ask me to do.
oh no, that was just straight
Yeah.
up a different matter. Never
It's
mind.
just
Yeah,
out of
it's just
context though. So I don't
yeah.
know.
I don't know. I'm not sure either. We're missing some context on that, but
Yeah.
this source might be a little weird too, because like
mhm.
if they're skipping out some context, they might be
Oh
skimming
yeah.
the information a little. So I wouldn't really
I
trust their
mean
word on that one.
I wouldn't
That
really
one.
worry about that too much because this is just a reaction from other people, and you can very much tell that there is some resentment towards his side that he's holding.
That is
Yes.
true. That is true.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Oh, we do have a positive comment. Ignore the haters are being peaceful. What they're doing is good.
Oh,
Okay,
he can't even say the words.
it's crazy. Oh, I'm sure he just didn't want to say anything.
Maybe.
All right. Oh, yeah, it's the end of the video. Okay, so this is kind of a very touchy topic.
That's
This
3
is a
years
very
ago.
interesting video. This is from 3 years ago.
It would be sad if he can't actually like say the words.
Hmm.
That would be. I mean,
Okay,
that's
well,
a
he wouldn't
huge
be.
one.
I mean, everybody agrees that, everybody has freedom of speech. He's free to say that. I don't think that's the
Uh,
case. It's probably because of the camera, because, some people are kind of shy of the camera. They don't really want to say anything. But
mm.
I am glad that Arkansas does have sound people. So yeah, this is just a very
Of course,
like very small. Yeah.
it's a very majority. They're talking
Mhm.
about the majority of Arkansas. It's not
Mhm.
like every person that drove by just started
Mhm.
screaming racial slurs
Yeah.
at the dude.
Uh,
It's not like that. For sure.
I am sure Harrison is a pretty racist state because or not state like county because I've seen like several videos on it, but not everybody there is gonna be racist, of course. I mean, that's just gonna be like the prime examples that he's gonna like put out because this video is only 2 minutes and 18 seconds, so I'm not sure. I'm sure there's not gonna be like a lot of people that are racist there. But I have heard that there are some issues is like headquarters of the KKK. I do know that exists in states like these. They're pretty prominent there. I know Zinc has one. But
KKK still exists.
yeah, it does.
Uh,
They're still a pretty big organization. And I'm not sure if you guys saw the video. There's one. I think Nico Olmalana. He's a dude from Britain. He actually went to the U.S., visited Zinc, and actually had a video with the KKK headquarters boss. One of the crazy videos. But yeah, concluding this episode, that's just a small perspective on race or a small view on racism. in America, it is still pretty prevalent, I think. Do you guys have any closing thoughts?
I mean that has to sum up my thoughts on it. I really don't
Yeah.
have much else to say to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's very I don't agree with it whatsoever,
Mm-hmm.
but these people seem more hurt than seem more hurt. So a lot of these people seem more hurt than
Mm-hmm.
actually like angry. So
Yeah.
it just like I have mixed feelings on it,
You know, I
even though
try
I
to
don't agree
be,
with it.
yeah, I try to be open-minded, and it is kind of hard to sympathize with these individuals, but there are some sound individuals, and there are some concerns, and I think those implications would actually be considered. I mean, there are outright racist people on this video about it. I think it was a pretty interesting take. There are some perspectives in there. For example, I think ALM was a pretty interesting point. I hear that all the time after BLM happened. Uh, some people are talking about White Lives Matter after BLM. It's pretty crazy stuff. Yeah. Any closing thoughts, or are we concluding? All right.
I think yeah.
Art or concluding. Okay, this is a pretty touchy topic. I'm gonna put the disclaimer in the comment section for that one. Okay, stop recording.